everybody. So good to have you guys. Happy Mother's Day to many of you. Even if you only have a cat and a dog, you're still a mama, right?
Yeah.
Or a parrot or a rabbit. I don't really care what kind of critter it is. So thank you all for your love and your nurturing of all creatures, great and small. Yeah. I mean, I had a cold a few weeks ago, and whenever I have a cold, it leaves me with this dry, not so raspy today voice. So I'm not contagious. Even though, I mean, anymore, all you have to do is be in the store and cough and everybody scatters, right? But it's just the way it's left. So I'm good. I'm in good shape. However, I will need to drink water on occasion. And I was trying to sing in the car the other day with a woman who's just a little bit higher than my pitch, so I had to drop lower. Oh my goodness, I had a good bass going on. This cold really helped my bass. Had to, yeah, never mind. Okay. I was gonna say I had to check my gender. Still said it. Okay, so today's message, of course, is about Mother's Day. Mother's Day can be kind of tricky. Sometimes we don't have our mothers here anymore. Sometimes we didn't have the kind of mother we wished we had. Other times we, came to understand why we had the kind of mother we had, but and other times it's just a complete joy and celebration. So it could be kind of a tricky holiday depending on what your relationship was, or even how you feel about yourself as a mother. Was I a success? Was I a failure? We can really beat ourselves up in a variety of ways. So no matter how old your children are, or how old you are, you still have a mother. And if you had children, you're still a mother, no matter what. I kind of remind myself of that even when I'm 90 and my daughter is 70. We'll still be mother and daughter. She'll still be my child, no matter what. So anyway, today's inspiration is out of the prophet Khalil Gibran. It's a book actually this very book was one that Jay had given me at my ordination, which I didn't remember. I knew he'd given me one, but I have several copies of it. So I didn't know which one until I opened it up and there was the invitation or the program for my ordination. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so special. I'm going to keep it in this book. And I read through the whole thing and kind of relived it. It was really fun to do that. So it's kind of poetic that I'm reading out of that particular book today. So I'm going to read this section. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the book, The Prophet, the writer, Khalil, is Lebanese. And so it's kind of written in the fashion of Rumi, only not quite as abstract, and but kind of along the line of a poet, which is the style of their culture. So in this particular book kind of goes through life of and so each little section is written about some aspect in our progression in life. So this one's about being a parent and our children. So he says, a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but they're not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries in yesterday. You are the bows from which the children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows might go swift and far. Let your bending of the archer's hand be for gladness, For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves the bow that is stable. Isn't that beautiful? It's really, I love the way that he says that. So in reading this, to me, it's so beautiful that your mother participated in the process of life with a capital L. And that life that was longing to express itself, of the life force that was longing to express itself, to be itself and to experience itself. And what is that life force? But it's God longing for itself. And so no matter what, you are the expression of God longing to express itself. That's what each one of you are. And that's the process, if you have children, the process that you participated in bringing forth another life. You are called forth by God through your mother. That's one thing we all have. We all have a mother, right? We didn't get here without one. So that's God. God worked through that being called your mother to express you. And if you have ever thought that you were a mistake or a bad apple or any of those feelings, know that it's not true, because you are God expressing itself. Your beingness that is you was called forth by the miracle of life through your mother. So feel the miracle that is you through this process. And we're so grateful for that miracle of what we call life with a capital L. Our children are expressed through us, but they don't belong to us. They belong to life itself, just as you belong to life itself. So can you imagine Mother Mary recognizing that her son Jesus didn't belong to her, and that his thoughts weren't hers, and the complete release that she had to have as he was the arrow that was shot forward? She couldn't go with him. She had to just be the stable person for him. He belonged to his own destiny, just as each one of you belong to your own destiny. And your job as mothers is to love your own children in the destiny that they are set forth upon, and guide them as the best you can to fulfill their fullest potential and their ability of what they came here to experience. And sometimes it's kind of hard. There's no doubt about that. So your mother was the right mother for you to fulfill your destiny. I know it doesn't always seem like it, does it? Joe is watching a show. He sometimes watches that show, Intervention. You guys familiar with that one? Yeah. So there was one show I kind of watch it as I pop in and out of the living room. So I see some of the highlights of the shows. And there's one particular show really struck me. It was a middle-aged woman who was addicted, don't remember to what. And the thing, so, there's always a root cause for addiction. There's always something that needs to be covered up, something they're trying to deal with, something that makes whatever the issue is able to be coped with. And so anyway, so this woman, the root cause for her addiction was her longing and desperate need to be loved by her mother, to know that her mother loved her. And it was so interesting watching this elder woman be interviewed and talk about, because they talked to her about her, her daughter's need to know that she loved her, to know that she deeply cared about her as a person. And it was so interesting watching this mother talk about it, because she said, I don't care. And I thought, oh my gosh, how does anybody not care? And she just couldn't find it in her. She says, I guess I should care more, but then it would be fake. And I thought, oh my goodness. And so then I had to ask myself, so I really sat with that. And this mother, she truly didn't have the emotional hardware. She was not hardwired in her brain to care about her daughter's desperate need to be cared for, and her lack of it being able to express that. And so I got, in the process of that, I got thinking about, why would that be? I mean, here she picked, if we believe in our principles, that we choose, that we have an agreement with who we're going to be born to, we make this soul agreement for whatever purposes we need to fulfill, whatever purposes the parent can fulfill for us, we make this agreement. And this woman who is now really struggling with this, she said yes to a woman who had no hardwire for empathy. She did not have the hardwire for empathy. She didn't have it. It just wasn't in there. She missed the switch somewhere. So is that her fault? No, not really. But that soul said, yes, I'm going to be born to that. So why would a soul say that? Why would a soul say, yes, I'm going to be born to a woman who has no empathy? Well, maybe she needed to learn to love herself. Maybe the soul, as my theory would be, to love herself, to find her own healing, to find her own resources, to find her own strength. And in a soul agreement type setting, that's the perfect arrangement to learn that. It's a hard one. I wouldn't say yes to it, but this brave soul did. And she was able, I just hope that she's able to find her resources within, do her own inner child healing, and then come to appreciate the strength that she found within herself through that journey of being born to someone that had that kind of a deficiency. So even though there is so much pain, she had the right mother to give her the soul lessons that was going to make her and help her to be the fullest expression of God expressing itself through her mother. So I encourage you all to think of ways that you might have struggled in your own relationships with your mother, and go under the surface of that struggle and find the rightness in it. Find the yes, why I said yes. What is this that's bringing me? And people that I know that have really done their work they can flip it around. They can flip it over and be bigger than that, and allow their soul to express itself for what it said yes to. And measure up to the challenge of it. Because we never get anything bigger than we're able to handle, believe it or not. Even I say, that's too much for me. And then it's not. Because, you find your inner resource. It's just, it was too much for me at this very second, but 2 minutes from now, I'm going to reach deeper and I'm going to find something in me that I didn't know I had. And it seems like it's nothing. And even if we think back a year from now, who was I a year ago and who am I now today? We found resources to deal with things that we didn't know we could. So fill your heart with gratitude. And when you can, if you can, fill your heart with gratitude that you are a better version of who you are today, because you said yes to the mother that might have had some deficiencies. And her mother had deficiencies, and her mother had deficiencies, but they also had strengths. You got some fabulous DNA patterns also. We all have goodness in us, even if we don't experience it in the way we wished we did from our parents, from our mother, grandmothers, whatever. How many have grandmothers that that are amazing to you? And yet their mother, yes. And yet their mother, who is your mother, and yet your mother, who was mothered by that person, did not have that experience, right? So it's in there. It's what we agreed to. And then the grandmas, how many kids are angry at their mother or their dad because they see how they give their grandchild, their children, everything they wouldn't get? It's like, why weren't you like that for me? Well, that wasn't your agreement. That wasn't what your soul said. I want to be born to you to learn. But they get to do it then for the next generation. While that parent that's going, how come you weren't that kind of, they were that, they're doing their lessons and their agreements. We just get to keep repeating this process. But hopefully we are in an evolutionary path. I want my daughter to be better than me. I want her to go further. So I said, you do more, go further. It's evolution. Don't stay here. I made my errors, but you can be better than that. So going back to Gibran, where he says, their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow where you cannot visit. And boy, is that true. It's true. When we look at our parents, we look back at our mother or father, and we say, you don't understand me. You can't know what my world is like. And it's true. But then we have to look at our children and realize we don't really know their world. We don't know what their world is like. We can't go there with them, but we can be that stable force for them while they explore their world. We can be that lighthouse that they come back to and process, and we get to hear their thoughts, but their thoughts are not our thoughts. And we can be that landing place so they can go back out into their world and be the best that they can be. And he also says, so life goes not backwards, nor tarries in yesterday. So the life and love of a mother and a child, and the child becoming a mother, looking forward and backward in our mother parenting, repeats this cycle forward each time. We can't tarry in yesterday, nor can we can't keep pulling that backwards. So I love this next line. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. You are that bow. God stretches us and pulls us in our parenting. Those little creatures don't come with an owner's manual. I looked because I was clueless. So the Spirit just stretches us and stretches us, and then a time comes when we get let go, and that little arrow just shoots out, and we get to be loved as much as the bow, as the arrow gets to be loved by Spirit. So the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with all his might, that his arrow may go swift and far. And let your bending be the archer's hand for gladness. So we can be so grateful that we were bent into our children's future. To launch our children into the future. But we can also be grateful that we were launched by our mother, who was the bow that launched us forward. It works both ways. Into the expression of the greatest of our greatest expression. So even as he loves the arrow that flies, he loves the bow that is stable. There is not one that's greater than the other. We are in equal portion of being loved as the mother was to us. There's equal portion for whatever role it is that we're playing. For you are a mother, and you are the bow whose job it is to be stable. It works both directions while that arrow flies. So whether your mother is in spirit or here on earth, love her deeply and send her expressions of gratitude to the best of your ability, and know that she did the best she can as her mother did the best she can as her mother did the best she can with what they had and what they knew and what they came in with and the things that they made agreements to work out on this planet. So her soul is on a very different path and a very different story than the one you might have expressed and experienced, but it's all God, and it's all in love, and it's all to the greatest expression of who we want to be in this world and who our soul agreements are. So let's go into a little meditation. Let's get ourselves settled in for just a few moments. Take a nice deep breath. We dealt with some pretty heavy material here today on this beautiful Mother's Day. And find it in your heart. Drop down into your heart and find those places of gratitude where we know that we said yes, and we had the best mother that we could have to teach us the best lessons, to be the best expression of God expressing itself as the uniqueness of who you are today and who you're going to become in the tomorrows. The DNA that you inherited from your mother, from your father, was the right DNA that you said yes to. The lessons, the shortcomings and the longcomings and the unconditional love that their soul had for you is still present, and it was still there, and it will always be there. And let's celebrate what we got. Let's celebrate that we passed some of these tests with a A+. Let's celebrate yourself. Love yourself for it. As we expand that love into the ancestors, into the lineage of ancestors that we can connect with, that we know we're drawing our strengths from, and that we know that we're saying yes to the agreements, to the strengths, and to the love that each one of them had in store. And all of that comes down to you as God expressing itself on this planet here today in this beautiful expression of life, of love, of deep gratitude. And as you connect with that gratitude and that love, that's what you are sending the signal out to the universe that you want to experience more of in your tomorrows. It's information for the universe to manifest for you more of what you're grateful for, more of the strengths that you're discovering from within, and the happiness and the joy that comes from that, and the freedom. Feel the freedom of being unencumbered. Feel the freedom of love. Feel the freedom of happiness. And just release yourself from anything that feels constraining in that way. In your relationship with your mothers, your grandmothers, in your relationships with your children, just be free and be free to love unconditionally, the way Mother Mary taught us to be. Unencumbered, just free. Take this sense of freedom with you throughout the week as you send expressions of gratitude to your mother, whether in spirit or on earth. Remember how this freedom feels, because the feelings that we experience do go on both lines into our future and into our past. And by feeling that today, you are healing not only yourself, but your lineage. So hold on to that and let all of the generations experience that same sense of freedom. And let it be so. Amen. Okay. How you guys doing? Doing all right? Doing all right out there? I hope so. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn, no, I'm doing the offering, right? You're doing the offering? Oh, good. I'm off the hook. So Jennifer's gonna do the offering, then I'll come back and do the announcements. We also have a gift for all of you ladies. All right, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Such a wonderful talk, and yeah, it reminded me to just have that gratitude in my heart. So thank you, thank you. I wanted to, as we're preparing our offering, I wanted to read something that one of our dear sisters on ministerial team sent this morning. She said, this is a message from the angels that she received today. We are blessing you with love this Mother's Day. You know that the divine heart of the feminine is pouring forth love to each of you as you shine your light today and every day. Know that you walk in the power of spirit to bless all. We are with you. And so that was the message from Celine, and I thought, that's so beautiful. I hope she's okay with us sharing. She's not here, so we shared it. I shared it. So for our friends online, if you'd like to give, you can do that. I'm so glad this is here because I always forget the PayPal. It's paypal.me/Home Center Salem. So if you'd like to give, we would appreciate that. So as you take your gift to the Home Center in your hands, whether that be in paper form, the physical form, if it's love, gratitude, service, just charge that up with energy, that energy that supports our center and helps it thrive in the future. And we're so grateful. And we know that as we give, we also receive 100-fold. And we know that we will be blessed infinitely. And so it is.
Right. So while it's going around, do you want, yeah,
I'm gonna do it like a little in the
Yes.
program, and Kendra and Connie is passing the basket, but Connie.
we also have a basket around there. Oh,
Can the basket just go and then Connie can, I didn't say anything to Connie, but we wanted to just give you a gift to the
Oh,
ministers
this is
here for
Oh.
you, as our mother
oh,
of the
thank
church.
you.
And so.
Oh, that's lovely. Guys, totally surprised me. You're welcome. Thank you.
Wait, hold on, I need a picture, sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's so sweet.